Morning. Hello. Welcome in. How's it going, everybody? Sorry, I was just inhaling my breakfast. Gotta wash it down with some coffee. Hey, Cubus, you'd be proud of me. I did some refactoring last night, and I got it so that we can just. It's probably easier to show this in Ace, right? It's kind of hard to see. There we go. Grays are hard to see, but we've got it down to just the single faces. Yeah, breath fast. Seriously. So we've only got the X faces now, the X and the Z, and we will set the Y's up as we've set the Y faces up as alternative tiles. I figured out how I could iterate over them and just flip the alternative bit if they're Y facing and still have the outlines work correctly. Yeah. This has been a couple of weeks of like extreme optimization just for the sake of asset creation and asset management. I think this will be worth it. I really hope it'll be worth it. I love the idea that someone will only need to draw everything once. That's like pretty important to me, so I think this was time well spent. And now I can push, if this atlas gets bigger, I can push the walls to the right and the floors down, and I don't have to redo these, which is beautiful. Because setting tile sets up turns out is like kind of a pain, kind of tedious, especially when you have this where you have multiple source IDs for each atlas because of, you know, different tile shapes and positioning and stuff. But we did it. So we got to get back to coding here, to coding this up. All right. Let's see. Cubus says, almost makes sense to create the tile sets by editing the resource. I think we will. Now that we know how they are and they're standardized, I think we want to do that because I could imagine like maybe we only have the one set or we have a small group of sets that are like the default ones. And then you can kind of make your own maybe, or I'll make my own where I'll like mix and match different styles or different pieces. So yeah, I think we very well might do future tile set editing, mostly in code. Now that I have a pretty good idea of how it works, having redone it like 3 times in the last week. All right, so we have our hull types. So I don't like calling this set hull types. I want to call this something else. We like derive or determine. Like determine. I don't like set to describe what we're doing here. I would like set if we were like actually applying that to like the tile map layer or something, but it doesn't apply here. I mean, we could call it get hull types, and we get them all. We'll see. We'll see. I like longer words ideally, but we'll see. So we need to tackle the source IDs and the atlas coords now, as well as the alternative tile, which will just be a flip of a switch here. Can make that go away. Actually, I might need to review this because I changed how this works. Because I said source ID is just hull types, the hull type times 4, plus the block type times 2, plus the bool of whether it's facing Z or not. And that seems correct. So source ID is pretty much done. It's kind of beautiful that it's just one line compared to this mess. This is about as good as it can be, I think, for now. Oh, did I think of something? No. I thought there was something I wanted to put above this. Or above this. No, I don't think I do. Well, here's the deal. If tile blocks doesn't equal block type, we aren't gonna know what the hull type is. We're only gonna know about block types that are identical. So that is a problem. Because we actually need to know, like if we're a floor, we need to know if the neighboring block type is a wall or a floor. Well, we do that here. I guess we do that here. We look at the neighbors. Never mind, we do it. We figure it out. We don't need to iterate over every block. Cubus, is that enum necessary? Doesn't block.floor work? Yes, but then I would need to put block.floor. I would need to define block.floor in every single script that uses it. Whereas here, I just have like a global like enum class that has all my enums. So I only need to change it once. So is it necessary? No. Do I find it helpful, I think? Yes. Because I would hate for like some scripts to like desync. Yeah. I thought about just calling it util, like as a standard, but I figured I'd have a separate utility script and we can just be more, we can be more precise about what we mean. It also makes it very clear what I'm talking about, which helps. I mean, you could tell probably just hull inner is an enum, but maybe some circumstances, like here's one that's not obvious, is like axis Z. It's like not clear that that's an enum unless you say it is. Hey, Ferlansky, ship it. Welcome in. How's it going? All right. We're gonna call it get hull types. I think that's fine. I think get is fine. So that's what we're doing. We're getting them. We're getting them all together. We're putting them in the. And we'll set something else. Let's see. So we've got our source IDs. We've got our hull types. We need to determine our atlas coords. That's where we left off. All right. So for each coordinate set in the source IDs, the adjacent face, and then for each adjacent face in our set of adjacent faces, based on what your dimension is, then if the hull type has that adjacent face, so now we need to build a thing and then pick the atlas coordinate after. So can we add to a number, or do we need to like keep track of each adjacency? I would like to sum some number. I guess it would be a vector 2. The only thing is, it will matter what kind of shape it is. And by the way, I've never seen you make a Git commit. I make Git commits after the stream every day with GitHub Desktop. I switched to GitHub Desktop when I started using this computer instead of just Git, like CLI Git. I kind of like it. It's kind of nice. I miss being able to see all the little, everything, go across the screen, telling me, how much I uploaded and all the changes and all that stuff. For Lansky, you did that pickup component base class thing you said. Works much nicer. Nice, yeah. Yeah, just because you're using components doesn't mean you don't necessarily also need like a base class. So yeah, I'm glad that's simplified the problem. Whew, better than nothing. Yeah, we commit every day. Well, we commit most days. Sometimes I forget, but we commit most days. So here's the trick. I've chosen a different format for this, which I could actually do a little differently. I was thinking about doing this differently so that all of these work the same way. I think I'll do that. All right, I know I said I was done with the tile set, but I think there's a strong argument for having this organized differently. Because this one is, you go across and then down in a very particular order, and same with this. And this one is, you do not do that. So we could either have a separate rule for how you handle the Z, or we could just make them all formatted exactly the same way. Right now this is packed nicely, but I also don't really care about packing this that nicely. And I think I can change it pretty easily. I think I can change it while only changing a Lansky. Git, your Godot versions and projects are all on an external hard drive. Oh, that's... And they're only there? And it's an external hard drive. Is it at least a backup? All right, I said I was done with the tile sets, but I lied. I lied because I'm a liar. Make one more structural change here. Turn the background on so we can see what they're doing. Oh, that has such terrible contrast. Let's do it here. Oh, what the F? Oh, this is the PNG. There we go. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds like a bad idea. Look, everyone does that at a certain point. It is not a backup, it is everything, so I can use either my laptop and PC. I'll put it on Git. Yeah, I actually do two different things for that. Because yeah, you'll do that, and then one day you'll lose an entire project that you put some amount of time in, and then you'll never do that ever again. Once you lose an entire project, if not multiple projects. So what I do is I'm like a regular person. I have my documents folder. These are just my two current Godot projects. These are just pulled straight from Git. So these are the actual project files with all the project stuff in them. These are on Git, so they're safe. And then I have a bunch of stuff that's not on Git. So I have like Sprite files, my Obsidian vaults, some like stuff I've made like business cards, a little article that I want to remember about how to lerp correctly. And I've got this. This is a mirrored Google Drive. So this is mirrored between here and Google Drive. So it's saved in both locations. And so I can just open my laptop and I've got this, and I can open my desktop and I've got this. So I can open a third computer. If I got another computer and I needed to work on someone else's computer, I could just log into Google Drive, set this up. So yeah, I have Google Drive for non-project specific stuff, and then I have Git for project specific stuff, and it was pretty easy to set up. Yeah, Git's pretty easy. There is a Git plugin. It seems to lag behind the new version quite a bit. So if you're on an old version of Godot, I think you're fine. But if you're on a new version, you just need to set up Git yourself. It's really easy. Watch like one 5-minute tutorial video on YouTube, and you should be able to figure it out. GitHub Desktop is pretty cool too. It's like if you don't want to do CLI stuff, you can just grab GitHub Desktop, and it's pretty nice. It's got all my diffs. This is me changing the layers, I guess. It's got it all graphically represented. Kind of nice. This is a lot of changes. Oh, these are all the changes I made last night. All right, let's do what I said I was going to do. So we're going to double the canvas size, because right now it's 128 by 128, which seems fine. We can probably handle a 256 by 256. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, protect yourself. Your time is super valuable. Whether you're doing this full-time or part-time, your time is super valuable, and any time... I mean, it's hard enough to, like, redo work when you've decided the work needs to be redone. It really sucks when you have to redo the work because, like, something crashed. So this is what I'm thinking of doing. Something like this. Why you no fit? Oh, are you just... The fuck happened to this? Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm just an idiot. Oh, this is longer. This bar on the left side is longer than the canvas, and that's throwing me off. But whatever, I must have done that on accident. Yeah, what the fuck? Okay. Maybe that's just a weird A-Sprite display error bug, because it doesn't seem to actually be longer than the selection, but it appears longer than the selection sometimes. Oh, this is funky. Oops, I took too much of the file that time. There we go. Resizing squares on the edges, they're set really far away. Maybe. Oh, this is my jam. Oh, it's called the crab apple jam. That's sick. Sounds like a jazz harp, but they're doing things I've never heard anyone do on a jazz harp before. Okay. This will be consistent now, so we can index in the exact same way for all of these. It's a lot of wasted space, but I think we're going to fill them in with, like, additional tile variations. Like, this way we can have 4 different versions of a hull. like a hull type, which I think is good. All right, I'll turn that back down. That was really good. If anyone hasn't heard of the jazz harpist Dorothy Ashby, go listen to Dorothy Ashby. That isn't Dorothy Ashby, but that really reminded me of her. All right. That should be the last change we need to make. Now we just need to fix the layers, or fix the tile sets a little bit. We just need to start doing some offsets. That didn't get rid of my alternative tiles, did it? No, it just... I just need to offset them by a little bit more. So 128. Bam, back in business. That's beautiful. The only ones I'm going to need to change are the tops, but all the sides, which are the ones with all the alternative tiles, just need the margins to be changed. Which is beautiful. 132? No, that's too much. 130? Okay. 128 and 130. Okay. Pretty fancy. You got to do the margins because otherwise it starts counting wrong. It doesn't count from the tiles you're actually using. It counts from like the area that the tiles could be. So if you have them start in the middle, you have to use the margin. You can't just pick the tiles in the middle or your coordinates will be all messed up. So that's a little weird, but I kind of like it. Kind of like it. Delete. Set these all up. Delete. Get these in here. Get them to have the same texture origin. 24. I have to like, this I don't like. You have to like change it and then change it back to get them all to agree. But that's like a pretty minor complaint. Getting faster. Getting faster. Starting to learn some of the shortcuts. It's already good. Just gotta do it here. So this is planning for the future a little bit, and I think that's smart. Gives us room to express ourselves. It allows us to index into each of these identically, which is pretty great. I think I got them all. We got ads in a minute. How's everyone else doing? How's your development working? Or not working? We have a troubleshooting channel in the Discord now, so I can't promise I can help, but I'm going to try if anyone has any issues. Okay, so we're back to get source ID. I'm gonna call all these get because we're gathering information. We're not setting anything really. I mean, you could argue that we're setting the elements of a dictionary, but I don't love that. All right, so if hull types has this adjacent face, now what? Okay, so we need to build a vector 2 here. Variable, atlas, coords, vector 2i. I think we can just increment the components of the vector. Let me see if that makes sense. So for like this one, this goes -x, +x, both -x and +x. And then down this way it goes -y, +y, both -y and +y. So if... So we also need to check if hull types coords plus adjacent face is equal to hull types coords. Drink a little coffee while the ad break's running. I'll probably get a get question in the new help channel today. Sounds good. Sounds good. Is troubleshooting too like obscure a word? I feel like it's like pretty common. I could have called it something else. I could have called it like game dev help or like help desk help desk chat. I don't know. But I think troubleshooting is good. I like it. It's general because yeah, I want to be able to help people with Git problems or Godot problems or like Windows problems. I don't want people to feel like it has to be constrained to like a very particular. I think that's how the Discord is going to be structured. It's going to be general at first, and as the community gets bigger, we'll get more and more specific about things. Windaflatus, how's it going? How are you doing? You're lurking while watching the kids having a swim. Later gonna see Deadpool. That sounds awesome. I've been debating whether to see Deadpool in theaters. It's a lot of money. I already pay for Disney Plus, so it's like, shouldn't I just wait until I can watch it from the comfort of my home? But it looks good, and I keep getting it spoiled. Troubleshooting is fine. Help would have just made it a therapy channel. Yeah, fair enough. For Lansky, ridiculous. But yeah, one to Flatus, you got to do that. Supervising swimming should be supervised. Yeah, for Lansky, geez. But yeah, supervision is good. There's been at least one time in the distant past where my dad had to be like, hold my beer and like wade into the pool with his jeans on to like fish my sister out of like the deep end of the pool. So that does come up. So yeah, keep an eye out. All right, so if these hull types are the same, then we can say Atlas coords dot x Atlas coords equals vector 2i Atlas coords dot x plus. Let's do this a little differently. Let's say Atlas coords dot x plus the absolute value of adjacent faces dimension dot x plus equal. Can't spell dimension. There we go. Oh, Atlas coords. Wait, what? Atlas. Yeah, just. Cannot find property X on base array. What? Oh, not dimension. Yeah, dimension, right? Oh, we could just say adjacent face. There we go. Pretty awesome if we can just increment the Atlas chord by its direction. Could we also just say... Let me look at something real quick. I thought there was a vector... When do you see 1 to 3 movies per year? So, and your streaming's for series mostly? Yeah, fair. Got like 40-inch TV at home. Yeah. I got the big TV at home. I mean, it's not huge. It's like a 55-inch or something like that. But I sit pretty close to it. You can just fix it by doing that. This max axis and min axis thing is interesting. What's max? Returns the axis of the vector's highest value. So we could say, like, and then you can index into a vector with just an integer, right? Do they allow you to do that in GDScript? Can I just say vector 2, like, bracket 1, and that'll give me the y or whatever, or whichever? Actually, what am I doing? I'm overthinking this. Oh no, we have to break it up because adjacent face is a vector 3. Why is it a vector 3? Oh, because the Z up and down. Oh, this is interesting. This actually isn't going to work. You got a 16-inch TV for landscape, but it's a really old full HD. Just bought a new house, so the lounge is only about 8 feet wide. You'll end up wearing that TV like VR goggles. I mean, that's the kind of room where I'd get a 4K TV, I'll tell you that. If you're gonna be that close to it, you'll be like blown away by the pixel density of stuff. I'm enjoying this 4K monitor. I've got a 32-inch 4K monitor here now that I'm using and streaming on off of. It is good. It is kind of scary good. And I blow up the size of everything. Like, I've made all the text really big, and everything is like, it's so easy on my eyes to read. It's so good. Especially because I'm reading in front of spotlights. Yeah, it does sound like that, Linda Flatus. Okay, so this is not exactly what we're gonna do. Because adjacent face, oh man, we didn't need to do this. It's unfortunate. We did this whole thing, and I think it's still a reasonably good idea, but it might not be. Just because the issue is that for the Z, we are iterating over X and Y, but for the X and Y faces, we're iterating over Z, but I'm still incrementing Y in place of Z. So we need to come up with a different way to do this. Murder documentaries are very popular. We like murder mysteries in this house. They're fun. We love watching. Our go-to is always like the old Agatha Christie, like BBC specials, like the good versions of Poirot and like Miss Marple. Like the David Suchet ones of Poirot. They're so good. Watch those all the time. Yeah, we're learning how to do the perfect crime. All right, so we need to be able to tell whether we are iterating, which dimension we're iterating over. So maybe we do a match based on dimension. Probably have to do that. Wait, I have to think about this a little more. This is why you plan stuff. I think we do want to maybe use this max, the max axis index. I use this, but then we still need to know whether it's... Still need to kind of know which one it is. So I guess we could say if it's greater than 0, it's y. It's the y. Okay. Let's say if adjacent face we can just do another lookup table. What am I talking about? We can just make a companion lookup table because we have adjacent faces. So we know what we're iterating through. So we could just do a similar lookup. Then we would need the index for the array. Yeah, that could be fine. Rather than doing a conditional. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try it with this. Let's say if adjacent face dot max. What is this called? Oh, do I need to say vector 2i dot max? Not max. What is this called? Max axis index. The method, right? I just call this on the, I call it on the actual thing. Adjacent face. It's greater than 0. We'll say, so if it's greater than 0, we say atlas towards dot y plus equal abs adjacent face dot max axis index. Is this a property or a function? It's a property. I can probably just say that. That should work. Else plus towards dot x plus equals abs adjacent face dot x. I'll say 0. This way we can shunt the y or the z into the y. Well, hold on a second. No, this is not adequate. If it's positive, we actually need to step over 1. But if it's negative, we go up by 1. So we increment by 1 if it's negative, and we increment by 2 if it's positive. So how do we do that? just say 1 plus. No, that's not how you do it. Okay, maybe we do a lookup table. Constant increment faces, increment chords, maybe, I don't know, increment axes. I don't know what I'm gonna call these. Increment comps. So we increment the components. There's probably a way to do this with like a formula, but I'm just gonna do it with a lookup because it is constant. So it'll be 1. Oh, we could. It's actually just an array. Is this the same? Oh, we can just go by the sign. We can say if the sign is negative, we increment by 1. If the sign is positive, we increment by 2. Yeah, let's do that. So do we still care about this? So we do need to know, because this, we still need this. We still need to know the max axis index. So we'll say plus. Say plus 1 plus 2 if sign. We're getting indented a bit far here. This equals 2 if sign, or we can just say if this less than is greater than 0, else 1. I'm not too good. I'm not too good to or too pure to like declare a variable just so, just so I can read my line of code. If nothing else. Actually, what we could say instead is, instead of saying this, we could say, what did I call it? I called it something increment. Increment chords. or increment component variable, increment component, but component increment equals say this. Get rid of this. Do the ternary once. This is cleaner. Say dot max axis, right? Did we learn about that? Is it just called max? No. Oh, is there not a max axis? There's just a max axis index. What does the width mean? So vector 2i max with vector 2i. Oh, it's just comparing. Turns the component-wise maximum of this and width. Am I supposed to just pass itself? It's probably supposed to compare it with something else. How do I get my max axis? C axis constants. They're not here. Oh, I'm looking at vector 3i though. Should be the same. Should be pretty much the same. Oh, I've got a max. Wait, do I have a max for vector 3 but not vector 1? Or is max just... What is max? Oh, it's this and width. Equivalent to vector 2i max I x width dot x. Max y dot width y. Yeah, I don't want the component-wise maximum. I want the axis maximum. I guess I can just get the index. Let's see what we can do with this. Yeah, okay. That's weird, but we can work with this. Okay, so it's a little different than what I want. So we'd say word add. Two if adjacent face dot max axis index. This variable name here. JSON face. Okay, that should work. Okay, this should work. This should get us our atlas coordinates. And we just need one more function here. Need func get alternative tile. We're in some ads. We'll hang out. Say atlas coords. Do we want tile IDs? We do. We actually want tile IDs. Maybe tile info. I don't know. We have a tile ID class, so we probably should use it. I want all types to be different. Okay. Get rid of source ID. Thinking we can bring back the tile ID concept. Just say this get alt tiles. I'm in danger of doing too clean code here. This is bad. Or it's approaching bad. Maybe it's set tile IDs. We're eventually going to want a process that makes it so we don't have to redo all of this every time. We want to refine this process so that we know what changes, what has changed. We'll need like dirty flags or something for each tile. Because it can't just be the tile that changes and its neighboring tiles, because a tile change could change the compartments. Like you could remove a wall and expose a whole room to the outside. Or vice versa, you could enclose a space and a bunch of tiles that used to be outside are now considered inside. So we need to be a little more sophisticated at some point here. We'll say reset tile IDs. I guess this is set tile IDs. This is reset tile IDs. That doesn't make sense. We reset tile IDs. These are optional, right? Yeah, they are. Okay. Tile IDs coords equals tile ID dot new. Yeah, this kind of sucks. So we're like recreating the whole thing every time, but figure out a different way to do that. All right. So now we're making these properties of a tile ID, and we're just going to fill out the properties. Source ID, atlas chords, alt tiles. Adagon dev redeemed hydrate. All right, let me go get my water, which is a bad sign. Hey, Adagon, how's it going? And hey, Connectus, how is it going? Kind of what I hope is sort of the home stretch for the initial version of this autotiler. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my water. Making progress. That's good to hear. We are too, if slowly. As I say in my channel point redemption here, water is for people who've run out of coffee. And we haven't quite run out of coffee, which is why I didn't have any water, but Adagon's looking out for us. You got what's your next game jam, Adagon? I'm gonna do the Captain Coder Practical NPC Solo Dev Jam #4 in a couple weeks. You're doing GMTK? Nice. Do you have a team? I presume. I know, I remember hearing some people in the Discord talking about putting a team together for that. But I know you have your regular part. Yeah, your regular jam team, right? Yeah, I'm excited to do the solo dev jam. It's 72 hours, so I have a little extra time. But I think it was a little silly to try to sneak another jam in before the next Ludum Dare. But, I mean, I can't... Who am I to say that? Who am I? I'm talking to Adagon. I do a game jam every weekend. Adagon Dev. I do want to spend some time coming up with some generic code or adapting some code I've already written to be generic, because your template system is so cool and very inspiring. And if I'm going to do more jams than like the 2 a year that I have like planned, I'm going to definitely need something like that. But I also feel like that I'm going to kind of grow that out more organically. But that's also hard because most of the code you write is like very particular to the situation. All right, we're filling out our source ID, atlas chords, and alternative tiles for each of the individual faces of our tile blocks here. It's a lot more involved than our previous system, but I think it's good. What really sucks is we're just doing it all the time. We're going to be doing this constantly, but we'll see. Maybe it won't even have a performance impact. Connectus, you opted to not do game jams for now as you're working hard on your project, but if you get hard stuck or something, it might be a good idea to switch gears to a game jam. Yeah, I think so. I think if you're working on a long project, it's really healthy to take some breaks. But yeah, I need to not do what I did last time, which is like I kept working post jam for like 2 months. I don't have time to do that this time, because 1 month after the solo jam LD starts, like, I mean, maybe 5 weeks or something, 5 or 6 weeks, but one genre of game, gang. You say that, yet your last games are all different genres. No, one genre of game is a good idea. I think I'll end up like that, because I think all I really ever have ideas for are like sort of top-down strategy games. So I think I will be able to develop... like this autotiler, for example, I could split this autotiler out and I pretty much would have my own autotiler for whatever. I mean, once I get it working. But yeah, I need to put more effort into something like that. All right, alt tiles. Alt tiles is simple. Alt tiles is even simpler than source IDs. Alt tiles are just... We're gonna say variable alt tile is alt tile equals true if, we can just say is 1 if, we'll convert it. For these two. Like, I made this a bool, but it should probably just be an int. Just cast that bool to an int once and never have to do it ever again. Same deal here. So 1 if dimension is axis.y, else 0. Tile IDs chords dot alternative tile. Do I call it the full thing? Yeah, I do. Alternative tile. Okay, alternative tile equals is alt tile. Tile IDs, not tiles IDs. All right. In theory, this will work. In practice, we are going to run into so many bugs and errors. Probably just hard runtime errors. If there's anything I would like a little more from GDScript is maybe a little bit more rigorous, like compile time error checking. But I know we can't really have that. It ended up being fairly simple. So let's see. So when a tile block changes, we get hull types, we reset tile IDs. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is we need to actually apply those to the tile map layer. Set tile cells. It's a moment of truth. It will be. Just got to do the last most crucial part where I actually apply these to the tile map. All right. We're doing a lot of iterating. We definitely need to find a way to simplify this. And by simplify, I mean make it more complicated. Not all of these need to be sequential. Like hull types, like all the tile ID stuff depends on hull types, but like some of the stuff we can just set. Like this doesn't care about source ID, this doesn't care about atlas chords. So in theory, we could execute some of these in parallel. Somehow could figure that out. So for chords and tile IDs, tile IDs dot set tile IDs chords dot set cell. You know what we want to do is actually we want to find a way of converting this big tile ID dictionary into a tile map data object. And maybe there isn't a way to do that. Like maybe there isn't a way to mass set cells except to apply the tile map data. But we could probably eventually figure out a way. Yeah, the only real way to do it is to just go to this property, tile map data, and set it. That would be the only way to set this information in mass and mass. Which we could theoretically do. We'd need to understand more about how tile map data is arranged, because it's really good, it's really smart. It only packs as like data that you actually have. So it has information in there about which cells are actually set and which cells are not, and I'm not exactly sure. I've looked through the data a little bit, but I haven't figured out, I haven't grokked it all. But we wanna try to figure that out maybe. So our only option right now is to set them individually, which is rough. But that's what we'll do for now. And we'll figure out if we can set them en masse later. Dot set cell this coords. Identifier this not declared in the current scope. How do I refer to myself in GDScript? Oh, it's self. It's literally self. I remember. Self. All right. This isn't great, but I think it might work. Oh, do I also need to... I also need to notify runtime tile data update. I think. Or maybe I don't, because I'm not changing the tile data. No, I don't. I'm setting the cells directly. So tile block changed. When is this called? We just need to make sure that this is being called by somebody. It should be being called by the ship deck. Let's go to the hull. Highest visible deck dot tile block replaced. Okay, let's go to the deck. Do you have a tile block replaced function? You do not. Okay. Func tile block replaced. Now we're gonna say for layer in tile map layers. Oh, this tile block changed. I kind of like replaced better. The tile block changes. We'll say replaced. Might change that. Wonder what'll happen if there aren't any tiles on a given layer. Tile map layers isn't declared. Oh, we call it ship layers. Okay. I don't love that, but I guess that's fine. There's an ambiguity between the deck and the layer concept, but it's fine. This, in theory, should run. All right, who calls this? Tile block replaced. It should be called by the ship editor. We don't use this anymore. So we call it here. We say partition ship space, but now we need to say ship hull dot tile dot tile block replaced. Why don't I get code completion from that? You're a named class. All right. Okay, now's the moment of truth where we just crash and burn horribly. Run this particular scene. Mouse coords. Invalid access to property or keyless tile map layers. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. These are called ship layers. Crash. Invalid access to property or key -7, -4, -5 on a base object type dictionary. Was the issue with the access to... Hey Cubus, welcome back. We're testing out our many days of refactoring. So, tile blocks. There's a bad access to tile blocks. It's because tile blocks is empty because there aren't any tile blocks. Okay. If mapped coords is not equal to prior coords or block type changed or panned viewer, reveal hidden block at. Yeah, that seems fine. If mapped coords is less than build max and mapped coords is greater than or equal to build min, preview block at mapped coords. Okay. And then it failed here. Hidden blocks equals tile blocks coords. We would need to say if tile blocks coords dot has Why do I need to add that now? Why was that? Why have I not run into that before? Here's a problem. We have our initial selection is null. We probably shouldn't do that. We should probably have our initial block type be floor. The refactor of doom. It is truly. Song is loud. It's loud and it's like purposely blown out, which I don't understand that aesthetic. Like musically, like where you purposely blow out your sound. All right. If tile. Oh, I'm an idiot. If this key has this key, do the thing. It's like, God damn it, Dave. Gotta go. Good luck with it. Thanks, Forlansky. Hope you have a great day. Okay, no. Oh. Got an infinite loop somewhere. Probably because I'm calling this so often. It's hanging up somewhere. Oh, no, we have a huge number of errors. Oh. Is this shadowing an already declared variable? Where? Fucking where? Line 20. Oh. All right. So place blocks doesn't exist. Do you mean should I replace block? Yeah, I did. Oh god, I made that plural. Okay. Actually, I guess it is plural, huh? Because you could place more than one block. Okay, well that's a good error, I guess. No errors, but we're hanging. We got ads. I think it's very likely that I haven't defended against what happens if any of these dictionaries are empty. Got a hard crash here. All right. So the problem is probably that this is happening all the time, and it's possibly even happening multiple times. Let's just make sure that the problem is here, not somewhere else. Because we did some other stuff too. No, it's somewhere else. Okay, it could be with the partitioning, the space partitioning. Getting stuck in an infinite loop. My suspicion is that it's with the flood fill somewhere. That's usually where the infinite loop is. We did change that a bit. Could be this. So partition ship space. This is fine. Ship volumetric grid dot duplicate. Ship volumetric grid is the correct size. Or is it? Might not be. Yeah, infinite loop time. We've got all the time in the world. Init tile is flood min. Okay, so yeah, we will actually want to pass a different space here. We want to pass the flood max. The flood minimum and maximum, not the build. The flood is greater on each side by 1, so that we can get around whatever we build. And that's the space we want to be exploring. All right, so that's one thing that wouldn't account for a infinite loop though. So it's probably somewhere in here, partition ship space. Flood min, we start at flood min. While not untested tiles is empty, it's this thing. Block partitions, partition count is flood fill from. This all should be fine. Tile and block partitions. If untested tiles has tile. Erase. Untested tile is empty, break. However, init tile is untested tiles.pick random. Look, there's 2 while loops, okay? There's the outer while loop, which exhausts the volume of the space. And there's this inner while loop, which selects us an initial tile to flood from. Because there is a case that I wanted. So here's what I think we're ending up with. I think we're getting to the point where the only tiles... No, that doesn't make sense because the tiles are empty. In a tile, I can see a world where the only tiles left are walls. But we just erase that tile and then pick another tile. We should say if untested... We should say if not untested tiles. Or if untested tiles dot is empty. Not untested tiles. Pick another one. Else. We can express it differently. We can say if untested tiles is empty. We can say break. So there is a potential infinite loop here that we want to defend against. So, but that's not what's causing the problem. You can just add a safety kill into those while loops to stop after 5,000 loops. I mean, I could, but the outer loop might run. I mean, the outer loop wouldn't run that much, not that long, but you know, our volume is 4,096 tiles, about approximately 4,000 or 5,000 tiles. Might get bigger. If the volume gets bigger, we'd blow past a number like that. But yeah, we could add a dumb safety like that. But we'll go based off the emptiness of the untested tiles because we are erasing. But this is not the problem, I don't think. I mean, it's possible. What about this tile blocked replace thing? Are we just marking it as true like all the time? We're probably marking as true almost every frame. Good estimate. Yeah, that's a reasonable estimate. If we hit 5K, we've probably blown past our 4K volume. But that might change. So if we replace a block, we say tile block replaced is true. We don't have any loops anywhere else, though, is the thing. Should we just have, like, an early out of some kind? Or just wait a second? Yeah. I'm a little worried I've left something in place from the before times. And it's causing something to just happen over and over again. Let's see, let's look at our ready function. Block history dot append dot capture tile map snapshot. Will this even run right now? Can we even do that? Tile map snapshot dot new for ship deck and ship hull dot get children for ship layer and ship deck dot get children. Tile map snapshot dot append tile map data ship layer dot tile map data. I mean, this technically still works. It's not necessary anymore, but I don't see this causing a problem. You might want to thread that at some point if you want to go for a larger volume. Yeah, we can thread stuff. I would never initially write something to be threaded until I've figured out how to do it sequentially first. Venom weed, sometimes you gotta run before you learn to walk. Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, sometimes it can't be avoided. Like, this was a big refactor that there was no way to do this halfway. You just got to do the thing. and then pick up the pieces. So append tile map layer, layer sizes dot append, tile map data dot append array. Yeah, this all still works because structurally nothing has changed. We just have more tile map layers to do, but the tile map layers at the moment are empty, so who cares? So it's probably not that. I want to look at is action just released. Oh no, I didn't even get to that point. I didn't get to any of this point. If we are having a problem right now, the problem is rooted in paint preview. Because that's the only thing that would be running. Let me see if I can run the scene and not touch the screen, and see if it's running here. If I'm outside of the build area, so it's not hanging up, but as soon as I enter the build area, yeah, now it's not responding. So yeah, so it's something to do, because paint preview is not working, for one thing. So let's look at paint preview, because I have a, which is called, nowadays it's called preview block at. Tile blocks.has coords, hidden blocks coords equals tile blocks coords, yes. If erase mode, it's not erase mode should be false. Else, tile blocks coords equals block type. Tile block replaced equals true. Okay, so it's the autotiler. Let's just see if we get past the partition. Oh no, but it has to be the partition thing, because this is where it's crashing. See if we even get this to print out. So it is this partition process. Let's let it cook for a second. So no. So we are hanging up in the partition. Our flood fill, somewhere in the flood fill algorithm. I really wish highlighting this would. Can I highlight this and then be like Control F? Yeah, okay, that's how I'm supposed to do it. All right. Just delete the partition. Yeah, let's just delete all the partitions. The partition, this is a flood fill algorithm that basically compartmentalizes all the different rooms. But we want to run it all the time because partition 0 is outer space. Like it's all the areas that are exposed to outer space. So it's how we determine what parts of the hull are facing our external hull versus internal hull. And it is not working. So we initialize from the flood minimum. We send in this untested tiles array. Oops. Print partition count. Let's see how many partition counts we get. 0. Yeah, I mean, we should never get past 0. So there's something I've done to the flood fill means we're not covering the full area. We're just stuck. Breakpoint time. Yeah. Yeah. Breakpoint time. All right. Start there. We should get here, obviously. Oh, we don't even get here. We don't even get through this. Through the initial... Okay. So it's somewhere in here. Which we did change this. Oh, it's while not stack is empty. There's an infinite loop here. The stack is never being emptied. Why is that? Am I just exploring off into infinite space? What's happening here? I'm gonna read this and then we'll keep debugging it. So the array, we start with our initial tile. Our next tile is whatever. Our current tile is the top of the stack. So if the array doesn't have this tile, we add this tile to the array, which is our output. If not, tileblocks.has. Oh, I never changed this. I never changed the key mechanism for the tile blocks thing here. We don't key in by a vector 4 anymore. Well, that's a problem. I don't know if that's the problem. I feel like I wrote this part right. So for adjacent tile. Oh, God. Damn you, Cubus. At least you're spending your channel points. I hope you're getting adequate value out of it. Making me stand up in my own house. I won't stand for this. Or I will stand for this. All right, I want to run through this logic first, because this is the logic that determines whether we consider a tile. So what we're trying to say, if not tile blocks, because we know what am I doing here? So we append to the stack for the XYZ adjacent tiles. Yes. We have a check here for the vertical tiles. Yes. So I need to change this to say block instead of tile, but whatever. I don't really care at the moment. So what we're not checking has, we're gonna say if not tile blocks, tile is equal to enum.block.wall. All right, that should fix it. Well, we can't keep sitting on some old code, can we? No, we cannot. We cannot. We must do better. We will do better. So if this tile is not a wall or a door, then we will consider the neighbors. Okay. Let's see what we got. We should hit the breakpoint now. Okay, we had an error. That's great. That's beautiful. So we're accessing invalid keys. So we need to say if we need to say if tile blocks dot has tile. What if we don't have the tile? Yeah, so we only want to consider tile blocks that have the tile. Well, wait, how do we refactor everything? You missed half of what you were talking about. Is you had to do something. Let's hope the joke landed well. It does. So we're flood filling. So we're filling around space, empty space. So we're picking what tiles to add to the stack next. And this is the tricky part. Because we want to add I'm gonna stop when we've hit a wall. So if the tile blocks has this tile, and if the tile blocks is a wall, or tile blocks is a door, then we want to continue. Okay, so this doesn't care if tile block says, so we can pop this out. If it's not, so if the tile's not a wall or a door, we'll consider all of its adjacent neighbors. Maybe this helps. maybe? Let's see. Attempting the partition. This used to be a lot faster, so I think we're still stuck in... Yeah, we're still stuck in infinite loop land. Okay. So this is... The stack is still never emptying. So let's look at our criteria for adding stuff to the stack. Still breakpoint time. Well, the thing is, I'm confident that we're iterating over this. And I'm confident that we're iterating over this infinitely. So I'm trying to break out... I'm trying to understand why the stack is never emptying. I don't think breakpoints are going to help us with that particularly. I mean, I could look to see if we're adding coordinates that don't make any sense, but I kind of want to see what we're doing here. Let's look at adjacent tiles. I mean, adjacent tiles used to work, so it should continue to work. 1, 1, -1, -1. I don't want to reverse this, just to be consistent with what I'm doing elsewhere. That doesn't really matter. Our flood boundaries are reasonable. So let's look at this flood fill. I mean, yeah, sure, just run this sometimes. Yeah, so the stack is not empty. The initial tile is -8, -8, -1. That's correct. Continue. I think you might be right, because we hit the breakpoint once and then we never hit it again. That doesn't make sense. Because continue should have I should have just hit this breakpoint again as soon as we completed another loop. Huh. This is interesting. Well, we're pretty much out of time to figure this out today. I might stare at it tonight and try to break through this. I'm gonna snooze this ad. Yeah. I mean, we pull something off the stack, but then we add the neighbors to the stack. So if next is less than or equal to flood max, yeah. And next is greater than or equal to flood min, sure. Append the next tile. Next is tile plus adjacent tile. So we do the horizontal neighbors. We do them all. Vertical neighbors, we say, is it less than flood max z? Yeah. Vector 3 dot back is correct. If not, tile blocks dot has next. That means, is there not a floor above us, which would stop the... Oh no, that shouldn't stop us. Well, okay. This used to work. It no longer works. So that's an interesting challenge. I'm going to try to figure this out tonight. But I have a meeting in 4 minutes, so probably not going to figure it out today. This is suspicious to me a little bit. If not tile blocks dot has tile. Oh no, this is actually okay. This is okay. Rat Race Studio. Okay, let's see. Check that out. Are they doing Godot? Rat Race Studio, Godot, funny. Yeah, all right. Sounds good. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Yeah, the bug hunt will be pretty rough. But it's important. We'll figure it out. I'll do it off stream. It'll be less boring that way. But I appreciate everyone hanging out. Dustin, I appreciate the follow. Thanks for hanging through what ended up being a pretty boring stream. Cubus, thanks for forcing me to stand up. Hanging out. Connectus, it was nice to see you. Venom Weed. Furlansky, Adagon, always a pleasure. Windaflatus. Enjoy Deadpool later. Yeah, we're gonna raid out. I'm coding, you're coding, we're all hanging out in my at-home code farm. Oh, at-home cube farm. No worries, Connectus. Lurking is encouraged. I think of this as like to me this is like a nice morning co-working stream. That's the vibe I try to do promote. We don't want to be too intense. We just want to be hanging out. But yeah, thank you all. Thanks for hanging out today. I'll be back tomorrow. So yeah, same time, same place. I'll see you then. Until next time. Can't let you sit down again. Yeah, it'll never happen. I'll still be standing tomorrow morning. I'll be standing sleeping up. Oh, thank you, Eno. Thank you, Eno, saving me.